Have you ever felt like you're trying everything? Visualizing, affirming, believing, and yet something still blocks your flow? No matter how much you work on yourself, the same patterns keep showing up. The same fears, the same lack, the same emotional weight. What if I told you that the reason you're stuck has nothing to do with your effort, and everything to do with hidden energetic memories running your reality? In this video, you're going to discover an ancient Hawaiian technique so powerful that it can dissolve those invisible blocks and magnetize miracles into your life effortlessly. This is the Ho'oponopono magnetic method, a fusion of ancient healing and modern energy science. For the next few minutes, I'm going to guide you through a journey that will show you how to reprogram your subconscious, release emotional resistance, and awaken your natural frequency of abundance, love, and inner peace. This isn't about forcing manifestations or repeating affirmations. It's about aligning with the vibration that attracts everything you've been asking for. By the end of this video, you'll understand why nothing has been working until now, and how to change it. You'll learn how to use just 4 sacred phrases to reset your energy, heal your past, and become a magnet for everything that belongs to you. So if you're ready to stop struggling and finally allow life to unfold in your favor, stay until the end, because what you're about to hear might be the key your soul has been waiting for. The moment you say, enough. There comes a moment in every human journey when the soul whispers a single word that changes everything: enough. Not from anger, but from exhaustion. The deep, quiet exhaustion that comes after trying to be everything you're not. That moment, when you finally stop pretending, stop chasing, stop forcing, that is when your true awakening begins. Carl Jung once said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." And that choice often begins the instant we decide to stop running from ourselves. Maybe you've reached that point in your own life. The point where you've done everything right, followed the rules, chased the dreams, sought validation, and yet you still feel an emptiness inside, a quiet ache that nothing seems to fill. It's not failure. It's your soul calling you back home. Jung called this the process of individuation, the sacred return to your authentic self. It's the moment you stop being who the world told you to be and start remembering who you truly are. When you say, enough, you are not giving up, you are letting go. You are surrendering the illusion of control and allowing your true self to surface. In that moment, your shadow, all the emotions, memories, and desires you've buried, begins to rise. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's also the beginning of your liberation. Jung taught that there is no coming to consciousness without pain, and that's the truth. Awakening often feels like breaking. But you're not breaking down, you're breaking open. This video will guide you through that sacred breaking. Through Jung's wisdom, you'll learn how to transform pain into power, confusion into clarity, and fear into freedom. You'll understand why the moment you say, enough, is not the end. It's the beginning of your rebirth. Because when you reach that edge, when everything inside you says, I can't keep doing this, what you're really saying is, I'm ready to become who I truly am. The sacred moment of enough. There comes a moment in every human life when silence becomes louder than the noise, when the soul, after years of whispers, finally speaks in a single powerful word, enough. That moment isn't weakness. It's awakening. It's the exact instant the false self collapses and the true self begins to rise. For some, it comes after heartbreak. For others, after years of chasing success, validation, or love. But for all, it arrives as a sacred invitation to stop running from yourself and begin coming home. Carl Jung understood this moment better than anyone. He saw that beneath every breakdown hides a breakthrough, and beneath every exhaustion lies a buried truth. The self you've been suppressing is trying to emerge. Jung called this individuation, the process through which the unconscious becomes conscious, the fragmented becomes whole, and the lost becomes found. It's not an idea, it's an initiation. And it begins when you say, I can't live like this anymore. Perhaps you felt it, that quiet desperation, that invisible wall between who you are and who you know you could be. Maybe you've tried to fill the void with achievement, relationships, or distraction. But no matter what you gain, something always feels missing. That emptiness is not failure. It's your soul asking to be seen. It's the universe whispering, "Stop searching outside, what you're looking for is already within you." When you finally get tired of forcing, you begin to flow. When you get tired of pretending, you begin to heal. And this is where transformation begins. In this video, we're not just going to talk about change, we're going to experience it. You'll discover what Jung meant by integrating your shadow, how suppressed emotions secretly control your life, and how surrender, not effort, opens the doorway to your higher consciousness. You'll see why saying enough isn't the end of your journey, but the divine signal that your rebirth has already begun. Because when you reach the edge of your endurance, you're standing at the gateway of your evolution. There's something sacred about exhaustion, the kind that reaches your soul. It's not the body that's tired, it's the spirit that's begging for truth. You wake up one day and realize that all your striving, all your proving, all your performing was only taking you further from yourself. That's the moment you stand at the crossroads of awakening. You can either go back to comfort, illusion, and repetition, or you can step forward into the unknown, where authenticity lives. Jung believed that this inner collapse is not destruction, but divine construction, the breaking of the shell that hides the seed. You're not falling apart, you're falling open. What if your pain isn't punishment, but preparation? What if your sadness is the soil from which awareness grows? Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every moment of, "I can't do this anymore," is the universe shaking you awake. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This means your suffering is not random, it's revelation. It's the part of you that wants healing, finally asking for attention. When you say, "Enough," you're not quitting. You're agreeing to see yourself clearly for the first time. That's when healing becomes inevitable. And so, this moment, right here, right now, is not a coincidence. You found this message because you're ready. Ready to stop living half alive, ready to stop wearing masks, ready to remember your light. What you're about to experience in this video is more than knowledge. It's energy, it's remembrance, it's activation. Jung's teachings aren't theories. They're keys to unlock the parts of your consciousness that have been asleep. If you stay with me until the end, you'll understand why nothing was working before, and how, once you shift from resistance to surrender, everything begins to move in your favor. This is not just another video. It's the beginning of your transformation. The shadow and the light within you. Every person carries two worlds inside, the one they show to others, and the one they hide in silence. Jung called this hidden world the shadow, the part of us made of repressed emotions, unmet needs, buried pain, and unexpressed truths. It's the side we deny because we've been taught that anger is bad, sadness is weakness, fear is failure. So, we bury it deep and pretend to be fine. But the truth is, what you hide doesn't disappear. It grows roots in your subconscious and shapes every choice you make. Until one day, it becomes too heavy to ignore. Your shadow isn't your enemy. It's your mirror. It reflects everything you've judged, everything you've suppressed, everything you've refused to love in yourself. And here lies Jung's most radical truth. Healing doesn't come from rejecting the darkness, but from embracing it. What you resist, persists. What you accept, transforms. The light of consciousness has no meaning without the night that defines it. To awaken fully, you must walk through your darkness, not as a victim, but as the observer, the alchemist, the one who turns wounds into wisdom. The shadow shows up in subtle ways. It appears in the person who triggers you, the patterns that keep repeating, the emotions you avoid. Every argument, every frustration, every insecurity is a messenger from the parts of you waiting to be seen. Jung said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." That means your triggers are treasures, invitations from the universe to explore your unseen depths. The people who annoy you most are often reflections of your unhealed parts, waiting for integration. The shadow is not darkness, it's light trapped in pain. When you begin to face it with compassion instead of judgment, something magical happens. You start to understand that there's no good or bad, no right or wrong, only energy asking to be transmuted. You learn to sit with your sadness instead of running from it, to honor your anger instead of suppressing it, to listen to your fear instead of denying it. And in doing so, you unlock the higher frequencies hidden within those emotions: clarity, courage, and compassion. The moment you accept your shadow, your reality begins to shift. Relationships heal, opportunities flow, synchronicities multiply. Not because life suddenly got easier, but because you stopped fighting yourself. The battle between light and dark ends when you realize they were never enemies, only misunderstood lovers dancing within your soul. Jung understood this, that the path to wholeness is not about perfection, but integration. You cannot ascend without embracing where you've been. And once you do, your darkness becomes the doorway through which your light can finally shine. You see, the shadow only loses power when it is seen. The moment you dare to look at the part of yourself you've been avoiding, something extraordinary happens. Awareness dissolves fear. You realize that your pain was never trying to destroy you. It was trying to get your attention. Every tear, every heartbreak, every failure was your soul's way of saying, "Please, come back to me." You've been running from yourself for so long that you forgot what peace feels like. But as you shine light on what you once called ugly, you begin to see beauty where you once saw shame. And that is where healing begins, in the quiet courage to see yourself fully. Your shadow is not darkness to escape, it's unexpressed light waiting to be born. Think of it as the part of you that still believes in your worth, even after everything you've been through. It carries the energy of your suppressed voice, your forgotten creativity, your silenced intuition. When you integrate it, you reclaim your power. Jung understood that our deepest gold lies hidden in our darkest caves. The moment you stop judging yourself for your human flaws, the universe stops reflecting judgment back to you. That's when life starts flowing differently. People treat you differently, energy shifts around you, and you begin to manifest from authenticity, not appearance. And here's the secret: the shadow doesn't want to be fixed, it wants to be loved. When you meet your fears with tenderness instead of resistance, they soften. When you hold space for your sadness without rushing to escape it, it transforms into compassion. When you allow yourself to feel anger without shame, it becomes clarity. Every emotion carries encoded wisdom, waiting for your acceptance to unlock it. This is the alchemy Jung spoke of, the transformation of unconscious energy into conscious light. Once you understand this, your shadow becomes your greatest ally, guiding you toward your highest self. You no longer fear your darkness, because you've learned that it's made of light too. When exhaustion is the soul's calling, there comes a moment when even the strongest heart feels tired. Tired of pretending, tired of chasing, tired of carrying the weight of the world while trying to look like it's effortless. You reach a point where the motivation fades, the fire burns low, and the world feels muted. You wonder what's wrong with you, but the truth is, nothing is wrong. You are simply awakening. This kind of exhaustion isn't physical, it's spiritual. It's the sign that your soul is no longer willing to live in ways that drain its light. Carl Jung called this the night sea journey, the descent into the depths of the unconscious, where your true self hides beneath layers of expectation, performance, and fear. It's not depression, though it feels heavy. It's not defeat, though it feels like surrender. It's the sacred pause before rebirth. The same way the ocean must recede before a great wave can rise again. Your energy withdraws so you can remember your own source of power. The universe forces you to stop running, not to punish you, but to help you rediscover who you are without the noise. When you stop forcing, something miraculous happens. You begin to feel again, not the artificial excitement of achievement, but the quiet aliveness that comes from simply being. You notice the small things, the way sunlight touches your skin, the sound of your breath, the gentle rhythm of your heart. These are not small moments. They are reminders that life itself is the miracle you've been chasing. In the stillness, your soul begins to speak again. It doesn't scream, it whispers. And its message is simple. You don't need to do more. You just need to be here. Jung once wrote that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Exhaustion is the threshold of that privilege. The collapse of everything false so the authentic can finally emerge. The parts of you that are breaking down right now are not failures. They're old structures that can no longer hold your new frequency. You're not losing energy, you're redirecting it. You're no longer feeding illusions, you're nurturing truth. And when you finally understand that, fatigue turns into freedom. Sometimes, the most spiritual thing you can do is stop. Not give up, not retreat. Just stop. Stop performing for a world that doesn't see your essence. Stop carrying other people's pain as if it were yours to heal. Stop pretending you're okay when your spirit is begging for rest. You see, your soul doesn't want more productivity. It wants peace. The exhaustion you feel isn't laziness. It's divine rebellion. It's your higher self saying, I refuse to participate in a life that doesn't align with my truth. In the quiet that follows, you'll realize that rest is not the absence of growth. It's where growth finally begins. When you are spiritually tired, it's not because you're weak. It's because you've been fighting battles that were never meant to be yours. You've been trying to fix, control, and understand everything with your mind, when the answers have always lived in your heart. This exhaustion is the soul's way of cleansing. It strips away illusions, relationships that drain you, jobs that silence you, identities that no longer fit. You begin to see through the noise and remember who you were before the world told you who to be. That remembering feels heavy at first, but it's the beginning of liberation. You're not falling behind, you're falling into alignment. And then, something shifts. You no longer chase purpose, you embody it. You stop seeking validation. You start radiating truth. You realize that the life you were meant to live has been waiting patiently behind every version of you that tried too hard. The more you rest in presence, the more magnetic you become. People feel your peace before they hear your words. Opportunities appear, not because you forced them, but because your frequency finally matches your destiny. That is the paradox of spiritual exhaustion. It doesn't end you, it initiates you. It empties you of everything false so that truth has room to enter. This is where your rebirth begins. The power of the shadow, turning darkness into gold. In the depths of your being lives a truth most people never dare to face. Your light depends on your darkness. Carl Jung called this the shadow, and he taught that everything we refuse to accept in ourselves doesn't disappear. It becomes the very force that controls us. Every emotion you reject, every impulse you shame, every part of you you've buried, that is the gold hidden inside your darkness. Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. True healing begins the moment you stop running from the parts of you that frighten you most. Your anger, your jealousy, your sadness, they are not sins to be erased, but signals to be understood. Each emotion carries sacred intelligence, waiting to be decoded. When you push them away, they return disguised as chaos, in your relationships, your health, your work, your energy. But when you finally sit with your emotions and listen, something miraculous happens. What once felt unbearable becomes meaningful. You discover that behind your anger is passion, behind your fear is wisdom, and behind your pain is love asking to be acknowledged. Jung's wisdom reveals that the shadow isn't darkness, it's potential misunderstood. Your ego calls it shame, but your soul calls it power. Every wound you've endured has carved space for deeper compassion. Every loss has shaped the strength of your empathy. The greatest souls you admire are not those who avoided their darkness. They are the ones who faced it and turned it into gold. The shadow, once integrated, becomes your greatest source of creativity, magnetism, and spiritual maturity. It is the crucible through which your divine identity is forged. When you deny your shadow, you stay fragmented. You live half a life, chasing light while hiding from the very soil that gives it meaning. But when you embrace it, you become whole. You begin to see yourself with sacred neutrality, not as good or bad, but as infinite consciousness exploring itself through contrast. That is the art of inner alchemy, to see beauty in what once terrified you. You no longer fear your darkness, because you realize it has always been your teacher, your healer, and your key to evolution. The truth is, you cannot heal what you refuse to feel. Most people spend their lives avoiding pain, distracting themselves with noise, success, or the illusion of control. But pain ignored becomes a prison. Pain embraced becomes a passage. The moment you sit with your discomfort and ask it, "What are you here to teach me?" you shift from victim to master. Jung believed that our shadows contain all the energy we need to become whole, but that energy is trapped in the memories we've labeled as wrong. When you reclaim those memories with love, they no longer haunt you, they guide you. You stop being reactive and start being radiant. Think about it. The gold you seek is hidden in the very place you've been told to avoid. Your fear of rejection holds your capacity for connection. Your shame about failure hides your deepest courage. Your grief is proof that your heart still knows how to love. These emotions are not barriers. They are bridges. The universe designed contrasts so you could remember yourself through experience. The light you admire in others is the same light waiting for permission to shine through your cracks. And your cracks, no matter how broken they seem, are where the light gets in. Once you make peace with your shadow, you become magnetic. You stop needing to impress or convince anyone, because authenticity begins to speak louder than perfection. You draw people, opportunities, and synchronicities effortlessly. Not because you've changed who you are, but because you've stopped hiding what you are. The darkness you once feared becomes your power source. The silence you once avoided becomes your sanctuary. And the emotions you once suppressed become the very language through which the universe communicates with you. This is what Jung meant by transformation. Not escaping the dark, but learning to dance within it. Rebirth. The alchemy of letting go. Rebirth doesn't happen when you gain something new. It happens when you release everything that no longer vibrates with your truth. Letting go is not weakness. It's sacred alchemy. It's the soul's way of saying, "I'm done carrying what doesn't belong to me." Jung understood this deeply. He knew that the self can only emerge when the false layers of identity begin to dissolve. We cling to people, ideas, and versions of ourselves out of fear. Fear of emptiness, fear of uncertainty. But emptiness is not death. It's space. It's the universe clearing the path for your true essence to take form. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means releasing the emotional charge that keeps you trapped in repetition. It means blessing what hurt you and understanding that even pain was your teacher. When you forgive, not to justify, but to free yourself, your energy shifts instantly. Jung called this the reconciliation of opposites, the integration of what once seemed impossible to accept. You no longer fight life, you move with it. What once broke you now becomes the foundation for your wisdom. What once defined you now becomes fuel for your purpose. In the alchemy of letting go, suffering transforms into awareness. You begin to see that every ending is a coded beginning. Every loss carries the seed of new creation. The relationships that fell apart taught you boundaries. The failures taught you direction. The rejections taught you value. Jung taught that the psyche heals when it finds meaning in its pain, and meaning is what turns darkness into light. When you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to show me?" you awaken the alchemist within. When you let go, you don't lose, you return. You return to stillness, to neutrality, to the essence that existed before fear shaped your story. And from that space, manifestation becomes natural. The universe doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to who you are being. When you release resistance, your vibration rises effortlessly, and everything meant for you starts finding its way home. This is the true alchemy of letting go, transforming attachment into alignment, and turning every wound into wisdom. Letting go is not about erasing your past, it's about rewriting your relationship with it. The memories that once brought pain begin to soften when seen through the eyes of awareness. You start realizing that nothing truly went wrong. It only went the way your soul needed to grow. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every detour was a lesson in disguise, preparing you to embody a stronger, wiser, more awakened version of yourself. Jung believed that the psyche seeks wholeness, not perfection. And wholeness requires contrast. Without the night, the stars would never be seen. Without the loss, love would never be understood. Rebirth happens quietly, not with fireworks but with surrender. It's the moment you stop fighting what is and start trusting what's unfolding. You no longer cling to what should have been. You breathe into what is. You stop needing answers, and instead, you start feeling peace in the unknown. Jung wrote that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. To be reborn is to remember that you were never broken, only buried beneath expectations that weren't yours. The soil of suffering was never a curse. It was the womb of your awakening. The caterpillar doesn't die. It transforms. So do you. When you finally let go, something miraculous happens. Life begins to meet you halfway. You no longer chase love. It finds you. You no longer strive for abundance. It flows naturally. The energy you once wasted in resistance becomes fuel for creation. You understand that manifestation is not about control. It's about coherence. When your energy aligns with truth, the universe rearranges itself to match your vibration. You realize that every closed door was redirecting you toward something sacred. Letting go reveals that you were never being abandoned. You were being guided home to yourself. Integration. Living from wholeness. Wholeness isn't about fixing yourself. It's about remembering that you were never broken. It's the realization that both your light and your darkness belong, that every version of you was necessary to bring you here. Jung called this individuation, the sacred union of opposites within the self. It's the moment when your mind, body, and spirit finally align. You stop identifying as the victim of your story and begin to recognize yourself as the author of it. You realize that every wound, every fall, and every rise was part of your evolution toward consciousness. Living from wholeness means you no longer chase what's outside. You create from within. You no longer seek validation, because you understand that worth is not something to be earned, but something to be remembered. Your energy becomes still, grounded, magnetic. You stop reacting to life and start responding to it. You move through the world with presence, with grace, with awareness. Jung believed that true freedom comes not from escaping our humanity, but from embracing it fully. Shadow and light, fear and faith, all playing their divine roles in the dance of your becoming. When you live from this integrated state, you attract differently. You no longer manifest from lack. You magnetize from alignment. People feel your peace before you speak. You don't need to prove or pursue. Your energy itself becomes the invitation. This is what it means to be whole, to exist in harmony with what is, without resistance or disguise. You understand that consciousness doesn't choose sides. It includes everything. Your past no longer defines you. Your future no longer frightens you. You live now, and the now becomes sacred. This is the ultimate spiritual maturity Jung spoke of, to become both the observer and the participant, the creator and the creation. When you reach this level of awareness, you stop trying to heal and start simply being. Life ceases to be something happening to you and becomes something flowing through you. You're no longer at war with yourself. You've reclaimed the exiled parts of your soul and invited them home. And that reunion, that deep, quiet peace within, is what enlightenment truly feels like. When you finally live from wholeness, something extraordinary begins to happen. Life stops feeling like a struggle. The same experiences that once triggered pain now become teachers. The same people who once drained your energy become mirrors showing you where love still needs to flow. You stop blaming the world for your suffering and start thanking it for your evolution. You no longer need constant signs from the universe because you've become the sign, the living proof that consciousness is aware of itself. This is the moment when your outer world starts reflecting the harmony within. Peace is no longer something you chase. It's something you are. Integration doesn't mean the end of challenges. It means you meet them differently. You face the unknown not with fear, but with curiosity. You trust the timing of your life because you no longer operate from scarcity or control. You understand that the universe isn't testing you, it's training you. Every delay, every detour, every silence is a sacred orchestration helping you align deeper with your truth. Jung said that the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. But once you do, you realize there's nothing left to fear. You have met yourself fully, and that changes everything. When you live as an integrated being, you become a vessel of light in a fragmented world. Your presence alone begins to heal others, not through words, but through energy. You don't preach awakening, you embody it. You radiate peace in chaos, compassion in pain, and understanding in confusion. That's what makes you magnetic. That's what makes you divine. The universe doesn't respond to what you say, it responds to what you are. And when you are whole, reality becomes an extension of your consciousness, effortlessly, beautifully, eternally in flow. The return to yourself. You've walked through darkness and found light. You've learned that saying, enough, is not an ending. It's a beginning. Through Jung's wisdom, you've discovered that your pain was never a punishment, your shadow was never your enemy, and your exhaustion was never weakness. Every moment of despair was a sacred doorway leading you back to yourself. You've learned to let go, not because you stopped caring, but because you started trusting. And that trust is what transforms everything. Let's take a breath together. Inhale the truth that you are whole, that you are light, that you are consciousness experiencing itself. Exhale the illusion that you need to become anything more. Because you already are what you've been searching for. The journey of awakening isn't about reaching somewhere new. It's about remembering what's always been within you. And now, as you stand in this stillness, you realize that peace was never outside. It was waiting for you to notice. Before this video ends, pause for a moment. Reflect on everything you've seen, felt, and remembered today. Which part of this message spoke most deeply to your soul? Leave it in the comments. Your words might be the light someone else needs. If this journey resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and activate the notifications, because this is only the beginning. Every week we'll go deeper into the hidden language of the soul, the power of consciousness, and the science of spiritual awakening. And when you finish this video, I invite you to continue your journey by watching our previous one, The Hidden Power That Awakens When You Finally Say, Enough. It's the perfect continuation of everything you've awakened here today. Remember, healing is not linear. Awakening is not a destination. It's a dance, a sacred rhythm between shadow and light, between surrender and strength, between who you were and who you are becoming. So, as you leave this space, carry one truth with you. You are not broken, you are becoming. You are not lost, you are remembering. And you are not separate from the universe, you are its heartbeat. Every breath, every choice, every moment is an opportunity to return home to yourself. And every time you do, the entire world becomes just a little bit brighter. You've just walked through one of the deepest journeys a soul can take, the path back to itself. Together, we explored what happens when you finally say, enough. You learned that exhaustion is not a weakness, but a sacred signal from your soul that it's time to awaken. You saw that the shadow, the part of you you've spent years avoiding, is not your enemy but your greatest teacher. And through Jung's wisdom, you discovered that true transformation begins not when we add more light, but when we bring light into our darkness. We spoke about the courage it takes to face yourself, to stop running, to stop forcing, and to allow life to unfold through you. You've learned that letting go is not losing, but making space for what's real. That every pain carried a message. Every fall was preparation for your rising. And every version of you, the broken, the angry, the tired, was necessary for your wholeness to emerge. When you stop fighting your story and begin to embrace it, you reclaim your power. That's what awakening truly means, to remember that even your shadows are divine. Now, I want to ask you something, and I want you to answer from your heart. Which part of your shadow are you ready to embrace today? Take a moment to reflect, and share it in the comments below. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Because this space, this channel, isn't just about videos. It's a community of awakening souls walking each other home. So, if this message spoke to your spirit, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications, so you don't miss the next steps of your journey. If you're ready to go even deeper, I invite you to watch the previous video, The Hidden Power That Awakens When You Finally Say, Enough. It connects perfectly to what you've learned here today, and it will help you understand the energetic shift that happens when you surrender control and allow your higher self to lead. Don't rush to leave this energy. Stay in it. Let it settle into your heart, because something inside you has already begun to change. Remember this: you are not broken, you are becoming. You are not behind. You are awakening in divine timing. Everything you've lived through has led you to this exact moment of clarity. So, take a breath, smile, and know that life is not something happening to you, but something happening through you. The light you've been searching for has always been yours. And now that you've remembered that, the real journey, the journey of living from wholeness, has just begun.